They're not gluten-free. Yeah, I'm probably just going to keep them up and French
Hello.
because I had a voucher. They sell.
Hello, beautiful world of social media, Instagram and Facebook. Amazing to see you all. It's another beautiful day here in Manchester, and I'm really excited about the day ahead. Hello, Facebook Live people. Amazing to see you. So today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to talk to you about the importance of an anti-inflammatory diet. So whilst I'm chatting, I'm also chopping. I'm going to make a really beautiful cleansing spring soup, and I'll talk a little bit about that too. But I wanted to share with you just why it's important in these times to be thinking about the food that we're putting in our body. So up till now, you know, modern medicine has been pretty sufficient-ish to support our health and well-being. But what this current situation, coronavirus 19, has demonstrated is that these really intense situations require an integrated, holistic approach to our health and wellness. So people have been researching into what's been going on in China and what are the different therapies that were used in China to help the population, people who had contracted coronavirus, to help them get over it quicker. Because actually, relatively speaking, it's been like maybe a little bit over a month that it's taken for them to contain it and for life to kind of go back to the way it was. And what research shows is that a combination of not just the medication, but diet, nutrition, and herbs is really effective at supporting the immune system and helping us to get over viruses and infections quicker. So particularly in China, that's what the hospitals were doing. Some of the hospitals were utilizing herbal medications because in China, Chinese herbal medication is still really big. It's still very integrated into the medical system. And doctors, nurses were using these therapies as part of the intervention, and it caught on. A lot of other hospitals started to really take it on, and people got well. So it really got me thinking about the opportunity that we have now to really share these incredible practices, recipes, wisdom, and knowledge that already exists within the holistic health sector. So natural medicine is a very established, long established industry. And I'm not just talking about homeopathy. There's also herbal medicine, naturopathy. I'm trained in naturopathy. There are so many different modalities where, as a student, you learn the ins and outs of how the body works. You learn this at a biochemical level. And the teachings that we get enable us to understand how to work with the biochemistry of the body to balance the body, to balance the different functions of the body. And there are quite a number of factors that contribute to a healthy immune system. It's not just about eating foods that can boost our immune system. It's also about making sure that our liver is really clear, because our liver is one of the main filtration organs of the body. And if the liver is really clogged up, then it means that it can't do its job properly to filter out toxins from what we eat. And that in turn impacts on the immune system. And also, if our hormones are out of balance, that also can impact the immune system too. It puts an additional load on the immune system. It causes inflammation in the body. And one of the most important things for our immune system is our digestive health. So our gut is like the first line of defense. When we eat food, we have bacteria and white blood cells that help the digestive system to deal with any invaders that come into our body through eating. And this is a very complex system, but also really, really simple to take care of. So I'm going to be focusing on digestion and nutrition particularly. So we want to make sure that our gut is really clear. We want to make sure that our microbiome, which is the collection of healthy bacteria in the system, that the microbiome is really abundant and really strong and really healthy. And this is because that healthy bacteria helps to literally eliminate toxins from the body, as well as break down our food so that it can be absorbed properly. So if we want to absorb maximum amount of nutrients from the food that we're eating in order to have a really strong, healthy immune system, all those amazing nutrients that help to boost our immune system, then we need to make sure that we're digesting and absorbing our food. And there's a number of factors that can help that. So I'm going to talk about an anti-inflammatory diet. The anti-inflammatory diet also will help the load of the liver. So it's a lot gentler on the liver, and it makes sure that the liver is able to do its job properly, that the liver isn't overburdened also with foods that are going to be really toxic or make it sluggish. We want to essentially, with an anti-inflammatory diet, the first thing we want to do is really eliminate the toxic load on the body. So we want to make sure that we're not eating any additional things, any foods that are going to add to this toxic load. So for example, preservatives and additives into food. Processed food has a lot of this. It's got a lot of additional stuff that is just not necessary for the body, that adds this additional load on the body. Often includes heavy metals or other things that we really don't want in our food. And it's just an additional thing for our digestive system and our liver to have to break down and deal with. So if we can eliminate preservatives and additives, things like E numbers, they're chemicals that the body has to deal with. Also things that we might not realize, but having more than 2 portions of fish a week, potentially there's too much heavy metals in fish these days, particularly because the oceans and the rivers are polluted. So we want to limit the amount of fish, particularly oily fish, which really holds the heavy metals. We want to limit the amount. We have this every week so that the liver's not working overtime to eliminate all of those heavy metals. If we're eating fish every day, for example, that's potentially too much of a load on the body. So yeah, let's eliminate what we no longer need to, prevent the body from having to work overtime to eliminate that. So that's the very first thing as part of an anti-inflammatory diet. And there are other things that we can do to complement that. So thinking about the other chemicals and toxins we have in our environment that we might not be ingesting, but we might be like inhaling, or we might be putting on our skin. Those types of toxins also ultimately need to get metabolized by the liver. So it's a good idea to think about what other toxins in the environment we can just eliminate right now. We can just get rid of. And actually, a lot of the time, it ends up being cheaper to just use like coconut oil, for example, on the skin, rather than buying a fancy body cream, or using vinegar for cleaning rather than buying expensive cleaning products with lots of chemicals in them. Those are the kinds of things that we can start to look into. So the next part of the anti-inflammatory diet is reducing the types of foods that are going to make the digestive system really sluggish. So particularly refined carbohydrates. So that's bread, pasta, rice. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, oh my God, that's like the main staple of my diet. Well, the thing is that, there are lots of amazing alternatives to these foods. It just takes a little bit of thought and takes a little bit of time, which we now have plenty of because we're at home and we are wondering what to do with our spare time. So I've been really enjoying being in the kitchen more. I've been making fresh food every day. All my meals have been all beautifully, lovingly made by myself and my flatmates. And yeah, I've really enjoyed like being in the garden, planting more vegetables and things like that, so that I know that towards the summer, I'm going to be able to experience the high vibe foods that we planted directly onto my plate. So coming back to the refined carbs, we can substitute them for, we have a demo of all the things that we made, the little nursery that we've got going. Thanks, Ruth, for bringing that. So alternatives to refined carbs, sweet potatoes are amazing. Making our own pancakes or breads with more protein-based grains like buckwheat and quinoa. I went to the Penny Bronze Center in Bristol recently, and they had made the most delicious, incredible quinoa bread, which was made from cooked quinoa. I'm sure you can find loads and loads of recipes online. There's almond flour, coconut flour. Anyway, there's a whole different variety of substitutes, which are much more nutritious, much more concentrated with healthy fats and proteins as well. But also we can move away from the habitual butter and toast, jacket potato with beans scenario, and start to experiment more with whole foods. So courgettes, carrots, Swedes, turnips, all those root vegetables, they have a lot of carbs and they're going to fill us up, and we can do amazing things with them, like roasted veggies, and they caramelize, and you can add fresh herbs, and you can make them Cajun or Indian spiced or whatever you want. There's just so much scope. So substituting the refined carbs is really, really important. Even switching to brown rice, quinoa, millet, amaranth, all these grains can easily substitute rice, for example. I've even recently bought an amazing a pasta. It's made from kidney beans, so it's really, really high in protein, and it's really delicious. And to me, maybe if you're Italian and you think you know what real pasta is, so you do know what real pasta is, that's okay. But this is also a new thing, and it tastes really good. Okay, so the next part of an anti-inflammatory diet is reducing meat and dairy. Now, I know for a lot of you this is going to be really tricky, but just hear me out. Meat, particularly if it's not organic, contains a lot of toxins that the body has to deal with. Plus, it is more difficult for the body to digest. We need a lot more digestive enzymes. We need different types of bacteria, and it can be quite hard on the system. So I would recommend, if you're a really big meat eater, but you really do want to commit to an anti-inflammatory diet to boost your immune system, just to reduce the amount of meat that you eat, and maybe have it once or twice a week, and try some really hearty vegetarian recipes that there are in abundance out there on the internet. Things like nut roast, mushroom burgers. You can make foods that actually taste really, really meaty, particularly using beans and nuts and seeds and tofus, Chinese mushrooms as well. These foods have a really meaty texture and meaty flavor as well, that umami flavor. So try and reduce that meat content to a minimum. And also you're going to save money too, which is great, especially because a lot of us are out of work. Dairy is also a really great thing to minimize or eliminate altogether, because it is pro-inflammatory, which means it does actually activate the immune system. And actually 50% of us out there don't have lactase. We don't have the right enzymes to digest dairy properly. So if you're one of those people that loves dairy but does feel like my digestion is really not great after I've eaten it, it's probably because you're missing some of the enzymes that are needed to properly digest dairy. So those are two other things that you can reduce or eliminate to help your immune system. Okay, another really biggie, which I'm kind of leaving towards the end because it is a huge one, but also one of the most important ones, is gluten. So gluten, as yummy as it is, and as amazing as it makes cakes and pancakes, etc., contains something in it called zonulin. And studies have shown over and over again that zonulin, this thing in gluten molecule, or like a a substrate. What it does is it dissolves the protein bonds that bind the gut cells together. So our digestive tract, the small intestine, is particularly fragile. It's only one cell thick, and these cells are bound together by these protein bonds. The zonulin comes and literally unzips. It dissolves these protein bonds. So these holes start to appear in between the gut cells. And then what happens is they get bigger and bigger, and these microscopic holes start to let in undigested food. This is called leaky gut syndrome. And this is part of how a lot of allergies and intolerances are caused, because food enters the bloodstream and it shouldn't be there. White blood cells find it and go, we're going to tag you. And the next time you're here, the body creates an immune response because it recognizes this invader in the blood. And so then every time you eat that food, these white blood cells are sent, which, by the way, we have lots of white blood cells in patches in our digestive system anyway. They get activated and the gut swells up. And this inflammatory response happens in the gut, which is what we experience as the intolerance and the allergy symptoms, because essentially the white blood cells are creating this intolerance or inflammatory, this allergy or intolerance. It's a mediated response by the immune system. So what we want to do is we really want to protect the integrity of the gut lining, because it takes up to 2 or 3 years sometimes to fix that, to heal that, should I say, not fix it, but to heal it. I personally have gone through that process. My husband's gone through that process. And I know I can verify this. So I personally stay off gluten. Once in a while, I might, have a little taste of something. But generally speaking, I don't eat large amounts of gluten because I've had inflammatory bowel disease. I've been very unwell in the past with gut-related issues. And so I just want to make sure I'm protecting the integrity of my gut, because this way the food digests and all those nutrients are then going to go into the body and they're going to boost my immune system. So these are the main tenets and main aspects of an anti-inflammatory diet, in particular in what we eliminate out of the diet or what we reduce in the diet. What we want to do is we want to add lots of high vibe nutrients, particular phytonutrients, which are amazing immune boosting nutrients from plants, flowers, herbs, spices. So, you will have heard that ginger is so anti-inflammatory, is so boosting for the immune system. Garlic is amazing for the immune system also. I have some veggies that I'm going to be putting into this soup. I've got carrots, amazing also for the immune system. Leeks, which help the digestive system, particularly feed the good bacteria. We need this insoluble fiber, these particular types of fiber, to feed the immune system. And yeah, I have like a whole variety of spices that I add into my foods, like cumin and turmeric and curry leaves and rosemary. Oh my God, rosemary, amazing. So good for the immune system. So powerful for the immune system. I also add essential oils into my cooking. I add a few drops in at the end because, again, so powerful, powerfully extracted nutrients, and delicious, and help to really add a flavor and a kick. So I also add in a lot of high vibe fruits, veggies, particularly fruits, veggies that have a purpose. So berries. At the moment, I have raspberries and I have blueberries in my fridge. These are such high vibrational nutrients. They are packed full of antioxidants, packed full of nutrients that are going to boost and support the immune system. And then the final thing, I'm just going to give one more thing, which is my secret, my top food for the immune system are medicinal mushrooms. So I don't have any dried ones to show you, but I have some in tinctures. I got these beautiful tinctures from Life Cycle, who are based in Australia. They make these incredible tinctures, which are like liquid versions of the mushrooms. So they've extracted the mushrooms. I've got lion's mane and reishi. Lion's mane I have in the daytime, and reishi I have in the evening. These are amazing for modulating, for regulating the immune system. Particularly, they help us to produce more natural killer cells that fight infection, and also Treg cells. These are cells that regulate the immune system. So if you have autoimmune conditions, the medicinal mushrooms are the thing for you. But these have come from really, really far, and I don't make a habit of getting those kind of products. So I have got British company Pucka. They do amazing mushroom gold blend. And then I also have this other company that's based in the UK as well called Mushrooms for Life. And this is a powder blend. So I'm having this every day. And this is like boosting my immune system to the max. Plus, you can buy dried maitake and shiitake to go in your soups. If I had some, they would be going in the soup right now. Okay, I've shared a lot. Anti-inflammatory diet. This is your opportunity to follow it. You're at home, you have time, have fun, cook. It's one of the few things that we can do in the home that's creative and fun and abundant, and we can involve the whole family and everyone loves it. You don't have to be into something particular. Everyone loves either eating your food or making the food or being around you when you're cooking the food. So I'm going to share my anti-inflammatory diet blog article in the comments section of this post, and hopefully you can enjoy that. Let me know if you have any questions. And tomorrow I'm going to be back with another 11:11 antidote transmission. And I just want you to remember that you are the antidote to the challenges that are currently facing humanity, sentient beings, and Mother Earth. We are the antidote. We are that force which will counterbalance, bringing the light and love and holding that vibration, bringing other people into it, and joining together as community. I honor you. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will connect with you soon.